Delta's out with quarterly results. Let's get to Phil LeBeau, who joins us with a special guest. Good morning again, Phil.
Good morning, Joe. Ed Bastian, CEO of Delta. Thank you for joining us on a day where you guys beat the street on the top and the bottom line, and you really saw an acceleration in demand after the election. Tell me, in your own words, what you saw.
We had a strong close to the year. Record fourth quarter profits. Team did an amazing job with respect to the operational performance, particularly during the busy holiday periods. Led the industry across the board on that. The brand is healthy. We're seeing a lot of momentum. Advanced bookings look great into the new year. And yes, once we got through the election season and there was clarity, demand came across the board, whether it was internationally, whether it was corporately, whether it was consumer. Premium led the way as usual.
And you know the discussion that's out there right now regarding your stock and other airline stocks. You're all close to all-time highs, and the discussion is, do they deserve to be re-rated at a higher multiple? The skeptics will say, look, this is the head fake we've seen from this industry time and again. When do you get to the point where you can say to Wall Street, it's different this time?
Well, we're looking next year in 25 at our all-time best year in our history. So to me, this is a sustained momentum that we built. If you go back over the last decade, we've been building strength. Obviously, COVID hit us really, really hard, but we're back and we're better than ever.
And it's sustainable.
And it's sustainable. The themes that we had for last year's investor conference that we did in November was around differentiation and durability. Delta clearly is differentiating itself across the industry, leading the industry in just about every metric you can imagine, particularly in the consumer health and durability. We're going to generate this year over $4 billion in free cash flow, which we're going to use to continue to improve the balance sheet. I think one of the challenges you've had with the re-rating comments are that there's never really been an enterprise-leading, financially durable franchise in this industry. Delta's going to be that, and I see over the next 2 years us clearly achieving that, which will lead to the re-rating of Delta at least.
When you look at the differentiation, you just had CES celebrating marking the beginning of your 100th anniversary.
Right.
And you're talking about new partnerships, whether it's with Uber, YouTube, DraftKings. How long before those start to gain traction and you can say, look, here's the difference it's making, not just to the brand building, but also to the bottom line?
Well, it's already working, and all those partnerships that I mentioned at CS that we had the other night, they're already going to start taking effect this year, starting this spring. So whether it's YouTube, whether it's Uber, and it's building on the experiences that we've been creating. You know, we live in the experience world, the experience economy, and the health of our experience for our consumers has never been stronger, and as a result, the demand's never been stronger. So we're going to continue to personalize. We talked about Delta Concierge, which we launched the other evening. It's going to be about how do you personalize that experience for consumers to make it as seamless as possible, driving innovation all the way from home to your seat, and the entertainment, the loyalty dynamics that go alongside it. You know, we have the next century of flight to look to, and I could not be more optimistic in terms of what I'm seeing.
That century will include new aircraft.
Yeah.
You've got, what, about 40? Did you say A350s?
We have 40 Airbus planes coming in 25, including some 350s.
Are you comfortable with their ability to meet delivery,
Absolutely.
given the supply chain problems? Do you feel like them, and we know what's going on with Boeing, it's a separate issue, but the supply chain is to the level of strength that it can meet the demand that's out there?
Airbus has done a very good job over the last 10 years. Hitting their targets with Delta. We're a priority customer for them, and we'll continue to receive that equipment, I'm sure, relatively on time.
We've got a new administration starting in a couple of weeks. Have you talked with President Trump, President-elect Trump?
Well, I'm not going to talk about any personal conversations I've had with the incoming administration, but we as a firm always provide support through the transition process with the next administration, and they've appreciated our insights, and we'll see where things go.
Give me a quick snapshot on the consumer right now. International, corporate, premium?
Well, all channels are really strong, and that's what led to the great fourth quarter that we had. We're looking in the first quarter close to double digits in terms of top-line revenue growth. We're looking at doubling our EPS in the first quarter. We're looking at next year being the top financial performance in our history. You've got corporates up double digits. You've got the international up close to double digits. You've got our American Express loyalty remuneration and spending at double-digit levels. So every aspect that we're putting out, again, many of these in premium categories, are really, really healthy.
And the industry, you believe, at least here in North America, has it made it past the issues with overcapacity that we saw last year?
This is the most constructive backdrop that I ever recall seeing in my 25 years. All airlines are being challenged, and appropriately so, by their owners to return a solid return back to their shareholders, and particularly in the lower cost sector. And against that backdrop, you see who the big players are, particularly Southwest. They've made commitments they're not going to grow until they start to hit their return on invested capital numbers, which is probably going to be 2 to 3 years from now in terms of where they're comfortable with that. You see one of those carriers is in bankruptcy, really hard to grow and break discipline when you're in bankruptcy. And everyone is falling in line with that because we all are beneficiaries of a healthier backdrop. And when you can provide the right balance of supply and demand, that's what's eventually going to lead to the entire industry re-rating, not just Delta.
Ed Bastian, on a day where they beat on the top and the bottom line, guys, we're going to send it back to you.